Hi, everyone. I'm doing this episode of Hey Stella podcast. This week's episode is going to be on ex-Prince Harry, present wannabe called man, and the speech that he gave at the United Nations on the International Nelson Mandela Day. A lot of people are talking about him and how horrible of a public speaker he is. I agree. What I don't agree with is their analysis on what would help him do a better job as a public speaker is not correct. Some things are correct, but majority of the things that people suggest, I do not agree with. So here's my analysis of it.
Good morning, everybody. And thank you to the President of the General Assembly, His Excellency, Mr. Abdullah Shahid, for the introduction. And thank you to the Nelson Mandela Foundation for inviting me to speak on this day of all days. And thank you to Secretary General Guterres and the United Nations, whose promise reflects Mandela's vision of a freer, more peaceful world, for hosting us today. It is an honor to join you all on
the first introduction. He gets on to the podium. He is introducing himself. He's saying hello to everybody. Not so many people in the audience, but still, it doesn't matter. You can have one member in the audience, you can have two. You still have to show the same enthusiasm. He says in the first introduction, in the beginning introduction, how he's very grateful to be there. And he should be. I mean, it's such a honorable thing for him to be invited to speak to such a great event. I mean, my God, please. So why aren't you happy about saying hello? Why aren't you happy about welcoming the people that are there and introducing yourself without being sad? Why are you sad? Why are you sad about this? Hello, everyone. We are so grateful. We are so grateful. The words that he's describing do not match with his expression, the facial expression and all of the way that he should be embodying the words that he's speaking are contradicting each other. That's why it looks weird. So I don't understand why he's not just going on and saying, hello, we are so grateful to be part of this extraordinary event. And we could not be more humbled to be invited to speak at such an event. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for the introduction to the person before. Welcome. It's so nice to be here. That's how he should have done it. And I know there's some people on some other channels and they're talking about how come Meghan, who's there, how come Meghan, who's an actress, is not helping him with public speaking? Because she's not an actress. She's not an actress who understands the acting work. Therefore, she doesn't know how to help him because she herself doesn't get it. She doesn't know the process of the actor. She doesn't know the tools of the actor, which will then help with public speaking. She doesn't know. So it's not that she doesn't want to help him because she's mean and she wants him to do badly. She doesn't know. So those people who are saying she wants to see him do badly, I don't believe that she's that mean. I'm sure everybody considers her to not want to have other people do well, but I don't think that she would want Harry to be this bad. If she knew if she could help, I'm sure she could have. Another thing that he does throughout, watch, lips. And this is such a mannerism that so many people have. If you watch them on television, so many people have similar mannerisms when it comes to tension in the lips, because the mouth and the surrounding of the lips, the muscles around the mouth, we use most of the time because we speak more than we do not speak. So to relax the muscles around the mouth, to relax the mouth, remind yourself and become aware of it and just relax and not proceed, but become an observer of what it is that you are doing and then correct that tension. That's all it takes. It takes for you to go, I went there. I'm going to stop doing it. He doesn't know to do that. He actually takes time to keep tensing his lips because nobody has ever taught him how to relax his mouth. Capiche? Good.
Nelson Mandela International Day. Having spent time with many of Mandela's family members over the years, I speak to you today with humility, mindful of how much the man they loved means to so many. Those of us not fortunate enough to...
If you're speaking with humility, then I think that you should have prepared. You should have hired a coach, not your wife, because she doesn't know what she's doing. If this is so important to you that you are being asked on such a day with the name of such a great man as Nelson Mandela, and you are being asked to speak at this United Nations event of the International Day with his name, you should have prepared. He's having this tension in his elbow, the left one, because I'm looking at him this way. So he's having tension that moves his elbow up and down. I don't know if the body language guy on YouTube was able to observe that. I don't think he did. So I'm just telling you guys from an analysis that comes from moi, an acting coach. The tension, if not released around the mouth, will creep in different parts of the body, and he will do strange things that he's not even aware of. He's so sad in the way that he is giving the speech that if an actor would do the same thing, you would stop that actor and you would say, dude, Harry, stop playing what you think in your narrow mind as a sad speech. You cannot play a sad speech with sad emotions. If you are thinking about the great Nelson Mandela, all of the suffering that he went through, which you are going to speak about later, it doesn't mean that you have to be losing hope for that which you are talking about. Nelson Mandela, which you speak about, no matter what he had to go through, which none of us can even pretend to understand, at his greatness and his courage to be able to fight for what's right, to sacrifice his life, 30 almost years in jail. After being in prison for so many years, he came with hope. That man had hope. That's what makes a man great. The fact that no matter how much he sacrifices, he never loses hope. Why are you losing hope? All you have to do is give a speech. You just have to give a speech. You just came on a private jet, or you came on your whatever you came on. You have a grand life. You have anything that one would wish for, I would think. So what are you losing hope about? The speech is, in your perception, sad. So if the speech is sad in your mind, which is already a wrong interpretation, that means that nobody was working with you to help you out. And the reason why nobody's helping you out is because you don't think you need help. You can't help somebody unless they ask for it. So in your mind, you think the speech should be sad. If the words are already said, then your expression and your interpretation of it and your physical take on it should be completely the opposite. You should not play the obvious of the words, because then it's going to be very monotone and nobody's going to engage, because you are not engaging. You have to engage yourself moment to moment to moment, beat by beat by beat of the speech. You have to allow yourself to experience, using your senses, that which is what you are speaking about. You're happy to be here, like I said. You're saying that you're grateful, you're humble to have been asked to be here. Why don't you show that in the beginning by putting on a grateful, happy face? You're already playing what's going to come. You're not even playing the obvious to the beginning introduction. You're playing what in your mind you think it's supposed to be a sad, very sad speech, because you want to be taken seriously. Seriously doesn't mean sad. People don't like sad. People like to be engaged, and they have to be kept guessing to what you're going to say the next moment and the next moment and the next moment. So this is what I meant about being completely unaware of what public speaking should be. Let's continue.
Mandela well, have come to understand the man through his legacy. The letters he wrote alone in his prison cell, the speeches he delivered to his people, and those incredible shirts that he sported.
Oops. Okay, this has nothing to do with the man, the amazing Nelson Mandela. My analysis has to do with this guy in front of you, with the man, ex-royal, whatever he wants to be called, Harry. He's now jumping up and down. Did you see that? But I can't do it too much because I have these glasses that are filtered. Again, the tension is now released from his mouth. He keeps using his tension in the mouth instead of releasing that. Release it, release it. And then the rest of your body is going to follow the release of the muscles around your mouth. And then your body's not going to be jumping up and down because you are going to be relaxed. And then you can enjoy taking in the space and looking around and saying, okay, there might not be a lot of audience as I expected. So it's a little bit of a letdown. But at the same time, if I am going to consider that what I'm saying is honest, and you just said that you're being humble about being there, why does it matter how many people are listening to you? You should be as grateful to be there, even if there were like 5 people in the audience. So, okay, you expected more people to be there. They're not. Go by what you said. Live in what you're saying. Be humble and speak to those people as if the whole auditorium was filled. Why not? But you can't do that because you are a hypocrite. What you're saying is not what you believe. You just want us to know that what you're saying is true, but your actions do not prove to be true.
Also come to know him through the photographs of a person who, even when confronting unimaginable cruelty and injustice, almost always had a smile on his face. There's one photo in particular that stands out. On my wall and in my heart every day is an image of my mother and Mandela meeting in Cape Town in 1997.
What an amazing beat, dude, for you to come to. You're speaking about such a personal thing in your life. You're speaking about a beautiful picture of your mother, Princess Diana, who was such an absolute, beautiful, extraordinary woman. Why are you not happy to speak about her? I would say, dude, Harry, actor, stop. I want you to recall one of the moments. I know that you were very small, and I know it's very sad that your mother passed away when you were very young. But I want you, for this particular beat, for this particular moment of the speech, I want you to recall the picture that you are talking about right now. Imagine the picture to be in front of you, Prince Harry, and that will take you away. It will take your mind away from the fact that there's not enough people listening to you. The expectations have not been met, so you don't have as many people. So imagine your mother, the beautiful Princess Diana, the picture that you have at your home. Take it from your heart. As you say, you have it on your wall and you have it in your heart. Take it from your heart, take it and place it. Imagine it, visualize that picture of Princess Diana in front of you with the great man, Nelson Mandela. What does she look like? How gorgeous is she? Beautiful blonde hair, tall, that beautiful innocent smile. There she is. So when you talk about your mom, there's this beautiful smile that should take over your essence, your being, because you are paying tribute to your mom at the same time that you're paying tribute to Nelson Mandela. Why are you sad about this moment? This moment should be so beautiful and so embraced by you on that stage. That would also help you with the relaxation, because you wouldn't think about, oh my God, I'm doing a speech and there's not enough people and Meghan is going to be really upset because she wanted a lot of people to be here. And now she's going to be upset with me that we're not getting a lot of audience, and she wants audience. She wants to be the center of attention and we're not the center of attention. That's how you sound. You sound worried, you sound scared, and I feel sorry for you. I feel bad for you, but I'm trying to help. So if you ever come across my podcast, or my YouTube channel. Hopefully at some point I will get some people to go there and watch. Mihaela Mihut, The Art of Experiencing. These would be so helpful for you to use. Instead of you cherishing the opportunity that you have right now to speak about your mom, who was an amazing human, and for you to have a little bit of joy in describing her and talking of her, you're still with your sad understanding that you have to stay at one level monotone because you're speaking about a man like Nelson Mandela, who suffered a lot. He was the one that was keeping on the hope all his life. So why would you pretend that you are suffering in his place when you have nothing to suffer about? You just lost a great moment where you could have brought your mom with her joy and laughter and hope to everybody watching you do the speech, because you don't know and you don't want to find out how to do it right.
The photo was presented to me by the late Archbishop Desmond Tutu, whose friendship and inspiration were their own treasured gift. My wife and I had the honor of introducing our 4-month-old son to him back in 2019.
My wife,
When I first looked at the photo, straight away,
my wife, Meghan is right here. Is she in the audience or is she not? If you want to be part of the team, Meghan and Harry, that you so much are trying to show to the world, when you're speaking of her, if there's an audience member who happens to be your wife in the audience, don't be afraid. My wife, Meghan, and I, again, we're happy we were able to introduce our son that we feel so blessed to have. Archie, you're talking about your fabulous family that you love so much, that you say in all the articles and everywhere that there's so much love between you and your family, and Meghan is wild about you and you're wild about Meghan, and you're holding hands, you're like grasping onto each other. Oh, we love each other so much. We love each other so much. Even that, there's something wrong with that because there's so much tension in the way that you're holding hands. But you seem to want us to believe that you are in love, that you are so in love, and that's wonderful. Your family. Cherish your family. Be excited by it, Harry. My wife and I, she's right there. My wife and I would say my boyfriend and I. My boyfriend and I. Hi, it's so nice to have you here with me. Why are you so freaking sad? I don't even care for what you have to say. And you're taken away from the importance of this day, which is the International Nelson Mandela Day, by you being just a hello. I'm just going to say hello because I don't have enough audience. I'm just going to do this like this. Cherish your family. Be happy about it. Put on the face, and then the real feeling will come if you don't even feel it. Try it.
Jumped out was the joy on my mother's face, the playfulness, cheekiness even, the pure delight to be in communion with another soul so committed to serving humanity. And then I looked at Mandela.
Stop doing that. Okay.
He was a man with the weight.
You're talking about your mom and you're describing her with so many wonderful adjectives. Those adjectives, joy, hope, chickiness. What's chickiness? A little bit of playfulness. Isn't that what it is? Do a little bit of playfulness when you're talking about your beautiful mother. Chickiness, joy, wonderful. There's a little bit of chickiness. And then the sense of humor is going to come in, and you're going to wake up those few 5 or 10 people in the audience, or however few there are. You're going to wake them up. They're not going to be falling asleep listening to you, because you're going to surprise them. If you are going to put yourself in the moment of visualizing your mom and all these beautiful adjectives that you just attributed to her, the other people are going to relate to that because they feel those expressions in their lives at some point. So your humanity is going to come through because you're describing your mother's humanity. And then you go on to describe the great man, Nelson Mandela. Here we go.
And then I looked at Mandela. He was a man with the weight of the world on his shoulders, asked to heal his country from the wreckage of its past and transform it for the future. a man who had endured the very worst of humanity, vicious racism and state-sponsored brutality. A man who had lost 27 years with his children and family that he would never get back. 27 years.
I know, but what you did, Harry, by the time you got to this moment is so grave because you're talking about the sacrifices that this extraordinary man made for his country. But because you have played all of the other moments before you got to this grave, serious moment, the same way, with the same sadness, it took away from this important description that you just gave. You gave that away. You did not earn to get to this part of the speech. You don't deserve to give this part of the speech because you have not worked yourself in the previous moments of the speech to earn, to be able to speak of such a great man and his sacrifice for his country. I don't understand why even these people, whomever they are, who invited you to speak, would allow you to give such a speech that you're not deserving of giving, because you're not even doing a rehearsal. You're not even trying to prepare for something like this. An actor would be stopped at this point, and an actor would be reminded that he or she has to earn this particular beat, this particular moment, if the character were to be speaking about Nelson Mandela. You can't just go kind of do whatever you want in a general way. General speaking it's so undeserving of something or someone great. And you're doing just that. So when you're giving us the words of who Nelson Mandela was, you're not worthy of doing that because you haven't gotten to that moment by giving yourself the understanding of the importance of this moment. So the opportunity that you have, you didn't even take it seriously to say, this is an important moment. It's not about me. It's not about Meghan. It's not about us. It's about doing the best that I can to be able to represent the event and the man that the event is named after. You didn't do that because you don't care about that. You care about the way that you're being seen and the way that Meghan is being seen. But if you would have done that, you would have been able to win over audiences and fans. They would have seen that you do care about something else that's bigger than you and Meghan.
Yet in that photo and so many others, he is still beaming, still able to see the goodness in humanity, still buoyant with a beautiful spirit that lifted everyone around him. Not because he was blind to the ugliness, the injustices of the world. No, he saw them clearly. He had lived them, but because he knew we could overcome them. In our own time.
I'm doing it because I'm watching him do it. The way that you keep licking your lips and the way that you keep going to your lips, you're taking away from the power of the speech and how it should be, attributing the respect that you should to Nelson Mandela. Do you understand that? It's driving me insane because I can't help but do it myself, because I want to keep stopping him and saying, stop it, rehearsal, let's go over this moment again.
A time of global uncertainty and division, when it's all too easy to look around and feel anger or despair. I've been inspired to go back to Mandela's writings for insight into how this could be, how he could experience so much darkness and always manage to find the light. There I found a few lines that stopped me in my tracks. In a letter from prison, he wrote, "I feel my heart pumping hope steadily to every part of my body, warming my blood and pepping up my spirits. I am convinced that floods of personal disaster can never drown a determined revolutionary. To a freedom fighter, hope is what a lifebelt is to a swimmer."
You're quoting these beautiful words of hope, and you're still in a mood that is so freaking sad. And it's so freaking, I don't even know what it is, to be honest. Those are words that you are putting in your mouth. You're giving voice to the words that speak of hope and light and pumping blood and joy and light and light. They're not talking about darkness. They're not talking about sadness. Hope is all around those words. There's hope, 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 hope. This is what he said. Even in his darkest days, even in this cell that he was in for almost 30 years, there was hope that he was always feeling in his heart, if I were to paraphrase. Hope and hope. And that's what I want to give to all of you. Even though we're going through a difficult time in our world right now, hope. We must hold on to hope. Let's hold on to hope. Open up your body, open up your soul to what you're saying. Again, you have to be grateful for having the opportunity to speak such words written by the great man. Be happy about it. Be happy in this speech when you talk about that. Anybody would have given anything to be invited, to be able to speak the words by this man that you're celebrating today at this event. And you're not enthusiastic to be able to have the grace, knowing that you are able to give voice to those words. That should make you so happy, overwhelmed with joy and hope yourself, because you're speaking about joy and hope. Ay, ay, ay.
It moved me even more when I saw the date. August 1st, 1970, 7 years into Mandela's imprisonment, not even 1/3 of the way through. In those circumstances, how many of us would have lost hope and let our life belts slip away? How many of us would have been broken by a system designed to do exactly that? And let's be honest, how many of us are in danger of losing those life belts right now? How many of us feel battered, helpless in the face of the seemingly endless stream of disasters and devastation? I understand. This has been a painful year in a painful decade. We're living through a...
You are being moved, having found out that he wrote these 7 years into his imprisonment, and he was still holding on to hope. You're asking how any of us would have been able to hold on to hope if we were him. You're not even capable of holding on hope when you're doing a speech at the United Nations after you have just traveled by private jet, or at a level that majority of us, I don't know why you're comparing yourself to the rest of us, ordinary people. I've been once maybe on a private jet just by accident, because a friend of mine had a friend who had one. It was one time. So don't compare yourself to the rest of us. Don't put yourself in the same group when you know that your life is so blessed. You should be so grateful. You're asking if any of us would have been able to hold on to hope the same way that he was able to. You can't even hold on to hope here, and you have nothing to worry about. You haven't gone through anything. What have you gone through in comparison to what you're talking about? When you're talking about Nelson Mandela, are you crazy? I'm holding on to hope. Character, an actor has to hold on to hope, because if you don't hold on to hope, the movie ends. You don't come into the next scene. If you play a character sad from the beginning to the end of the movie, I guarantee you 10 minutes in, the audience leaves or they start booing. Boo, boo. Those people in the audience that you have, Prince, Harry, did not boo you, but they should have. Because in a normal situation where an actor is portraying a character, that actor would be booed by the audience if they were behaving and comporting the same way that you are. So do you understand how horrible this public speech is and how you haven't earned to be there?
We're living through a pandemic that continues to ravage communities in every corner of the globe. Climate change wreaking havoc on our planet, with the most vulnerable suffering most of all. The few weaponizing lies and disinformation at the expense of the many. And from the horrific war in Ukraine to the rolling back of constitutional rights here in the United States, we are witnessing a global assault on democracy and freedom, the cause of Mandela's life. According to Freedom House, our world has grown less free every year for more than a decade and a half.
I don't even understand how you can talk about this information when you went on an interview with Oprah after you and your wife have been saying that you want to remain private, and the reason why the royal family was not something that you wanted to be part of is because you don't want all of that, no cameras, no nothing. And then you give an interview on Oprah and you come up with all the untruths without giving any proof, having people actually give the evidence that you've spoken lies, you and your wife. So you're speaking about disinformation. This does not make sense in everything that you're saying right now. And you're doing it with unprepared work. If you go and prepare the speech and bring it to the level that this event is asking of you to give it, and you haven't done that. So everything else that you say about democracy and the freedom that we're all losing, I don't want to listen to you for that, because you're not the person that's going to move me when you haven't even done your work to be able to come and do justice to this speech that deserves so much more. So don't go to bigger issues and subjects about it, please.
So, as so often happens in history, the consequences of decisions made by some of the most powerful people in some of the wealthiest countries are being felt even more deeply across the continent of Africa. The pandemic, the war, and inflation have left Africa mired in a fuel and food crisis, the likes of which we have not seen in decades. Worse still, this comes at a time when the Horn of Africa is enduring the longest drought it's faced in close to half a century. And what is happening in Africa is not an isolated event. The drought there is a reflection of extreme weather we are seeing across the globe. As we sit here today, our world is on fire again. And these historic weather events are no longer historic. More and more, they are part of our daily lives. And this crisis will only grow worse unless our leaders lead. Unless the countries represented by the seats in this hallowed hall make the decisions, the daring, transformative decisions that our world needs to save humanity.
How can you talk about saving humanity when you can't even take a freaking commercial flight? How can you put yourself in a situation as if you are part of something that's so much bigger than who you are? How can you talk about the leaders and you preaching to what the leaders should be doing about climate change and democracy and our freedoms and all of that, when you can't even take a commercial flight that would help with the climate, with the world being on fire? You're actually standing there tensed as ever, making everybody uncomfortable because of the tension that you have. You probably are feeling that you don't deserve to be there. I think that's what it is. Oh my God, I just came up with why you're doing what you're doing. The reason why you're so tense and the reason why you're so unable to relax moment to moment to moment is because you know somewhere underneath, you know that you do not belong there. To be giving this speech on such a huge event for such a unique, one of a kind, great human being. That's what it is. So why did you go? Did you go because you were forced? Did Meghan ask you to go because she wants to be seen? She wants to stay relevant. She wants to be in the news. She wants to show her black dress and the fact that she's lost weight, which is to be appreciated. Nothing against people who have to lose weight. She wanted to show up because she wanted privacy, but she wanted to show up because she wanted privacy. That's why she left the royal family. And you wanted privacy. But then you needed to show up and you needed to walk with Meghan, walk towards the United Nations. We were invited to such an amazing event. We're going to do it. And then once you get there, your real sincere place somewhere deep inside of you is telling you, is letting you know that you don't belong there, and you know that. So you're holding all this tension around that, which is the truth, but you can't speak it. And if you cannot speak it, the tension won't be released. because you have to keep on the face for your B-list actress, Meghan. That's what it is. Oh, that's so sad. But at the same time, you should have stayed home.
Decisions may not fit with the agendas of every political party. They may invite resistance from powerful interests. But the right thing to do is not up for debate. And neither is the science. The only question is whether we will be brave enough and wise enough to do what is necessary. So yes, this is a pivotal moment. A moment where multiple converging crises have given way to an endless string of injustices. A moment where ordinary people around the world are experiencing extraordinary pain. And in this moment, we have a choice to make. We can grow apathetic, succumb to anger, or yield to despair, surrendering to the gravity of what we're up against. Or we can do what Mandela did every single day inside that 7 by 9 foot prison cell on Robben Island, and every day outside of it too. We can find meaning and purpose in the struggle. We can wear our principles as armor. Heed the advice Mandela once gave his son to never give up the battle even in the darkest hour, and find hope where we have the courage to seek it. Since I first visited Africa at 13 years old, I've always found hope on the continent. In fact, for most of my life, it has been my lifeline, a place where I've found peace and healing time and time again. It's where I felt closest to my mother and sought solace after she died, and where I knew I had found a soulmate in my wife. And it's where so much of my work is why my work is based there.
You have to admit when you make a mistake. It's okay, we're human beings, we all make mistakes. But you know what, Harry? You're just putting yourself in the same group with Nelson Mandela. You're talking about this man, and you're talking about you taking on this fight, even in the darkest hour, like he did. You have to be a little bit more humble. I know you say you are, but you're not. And you're talking about yourself as if you're in the same category, and you can't even do a speech. If you haven't figured that out, then you can't talk about other big things. You can't talk about the soul of Africa when you don't even understand that you have a soul, when you haven't even shown us that you have a soul. How can you go to such bigger, grander attempts to even, I feel sorry, I feel bad that I'm doing this, but this is just a analysis with a creative, constructive criticism. This is not good for anybody to do a monologue, to do a speech, to be so sad throughout the whole time. You're just letting yourself be pulled down by your own sadness that you're not even trying to fight through and get to the courage and then to the hope that you so speak about. You're not doing any of it, and it's sad. I'm sorry that you feel so bad.
Because despite continued hardship, there are people across Africa who embody Mandela's spirit and ideals, building on the progress he helped make possible. I see it in the communities fighting to save the Okavango Delta, defying the odds to protect their home and its biodiversity from big oil companies.
I don't know what you're saying.
I see it in the young girls who are
I don't know what you're saying, because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter what the words are. If you're not engaging me as the audience watching you right now, you're not engaging the people in the audience, in the place. You're not engaging anybody. And that's not right, because this should not be about you. You should have more responsibility to make the people care about what you're saying, because the event is more important than you. So you have no right to bring this speech that should have been brought up to the high standard of the event. You're bringing it down to your level.
Of school and into marriage in northern Nigeria, speaking out today so others may get a fuller chance to thrive tomorrow. I see it in the young entrepreneurs I met in Johannesburg, using their energy and creativity to launch businesses that serve their communities. I see it in World Central Kitchen, a partner of the Archwell Foundation, and their volunteers in Ukraine and around the world fighting food insecurity one meal at a time.
Archwell Foundation.
I see it in the vulnerable children of
I'm glad that you see it in everybody else around you, and you see it in Archwell Foundation, your foundation, and your wife's foundation. But why aren't you explaining it through your behavior? Why are you just saying it? You're just saying these words that absolutely mean zero to you. We're not seeing you be connected to that, what you are saying. The words don't mean anything because you haven't connected to any of it. If you see it, embrace it, learn from it.
Lesotho and Botswana, orphaned by HIV, striving for a better future, which we support through our organization, Bali.
There's hope that you're
I
missing.
see it in the newest generation of activists for equality and justice,
You see it in the
who are
newest
mobilizing people of
generation.
all ages and races.
Yes, activists, you see it, the hope, the hope. Where's the smile? Where's the smile? Another thing, I think what I've noticed, I don't know if anybody's talking about this, and I know I have to. He has left his facial hair on because I know he looks much younger without it. And Meghan probably has a complex about him shaving his face. I have never seen him without the facial hair since he married Meghan. And I can bet 100%, this is my opinion, but I am so convinced of it, that she's not letting him take the hair off because of him looking so much younger. But that doesn't mean that you can't get rid of the hair on your head. I agree with Meghan. I agree with her. Facial hair makes a man look a little bit older, more mature, more sexy at the same time. But you can lose the hair on top of your head. I don't have a lot of hair myself, so I'm not saying anything mean about physical appearances again. I admit I have not a lot of hair, trying to do what's best. In my case, I went and I got hair extensions. Yes, I have hair extensions. I wasn't going to tell people about it, but then I said, I don't want to be a hypocrite. I talk about truth telling. I talk about how actors are responsible to speak the truth all the time. Then I'm not going to lie about it. So I went and I got extensions because I was feeling insecure about my hair, losing my hair as you get older.
Faiths and walks of life, to lace up their shoes and join the march. And I see it in the parents I meet around the world. As determined as Mandela was to give their children a better shot at a brighter future, to prioritize their own and their children's mental health and well-being.
When is it? When is this over?
To reject old ideas and past prejudices, to heal from the past and build resilience for the present and future.
Do you see, if you don't acknowledge the mistake
Because
that you
they
made
know.
in the mispronunciation, which everybody does. I mean, I make so many mistakes because of the language not being my first language, English. And I make them all the time, but then I correct myself. I stop and then I say it again to let the people know that I'm a human being. I made a mistake. Yes, I'm aware of it. I'm not just trying to override it as if I'm saying I never made a mistake because I'm perfect. I can't listen to this anymore. This is, what time is it? I'm just going to go through it because I can't.
The water is rising all around us. In some places, quite literally.
Oh my God, dude.
So it's more important than ever. Joined hands not only with those who loved him, but those who had once jailed him, to build a better future for all.
Exactly. You're
What
speaking.
Mandela understood was that true legacy transcends one's own needs and the passage of time. It defies the moment. Its relevance never ceases. Legacy does not belong to the self. It belongs to those it impacts. That doesn't mean he was perfect. No, he was something better. He was human. As he wrote in his autobiography, I have made missteps along the way, but I have discovered the secret that after climbing a great hill, one only finds that there are many more hills to climb. I have taken a moment here to rest, to steal a view of the glorious vista that surrounds me, to look back on the distance I have come. But I can rest only for a moment, for with freedom comes responsibilities, and I dare not linger, for my long walk is not yet ended.
The last segment, the one that we just watched, it was right after I talked about the imperfection as a human being that needs to be revealed to the audience. And then he goes to quote what Mandela says, and he himself, the great man, says, I'm a human with imperfections. I don't mean to know everything. I don't mean that everything I've accomplished, I've wanted to accomplish, I've accomplished. As I climb a hill, I just know that there's more to climb, but he never loses hope. He never loses hope in humanity. And here you go, you're at this amazing celebration of the International Day of this great man, and you're freaking sad from the moment that you start to the moment that you finish, that I can't even watch the whole interview. I have to fast forward it. I never had to do that before with any other episode. This would not have stood in an actor's work. He would have been thrown off the stage at the actor's studio. He would have been stopped. There would be a conversation about, are you prepared? If you're not prepared, don't come on this sacred stage. That actor would have been asked questions by whoever the moderator would have been that day for session. And there would have been a conversation about, did you do any preparation? Because you need to have the responsibility that you talk about, Harry, the responsibility that you talk about in the words of Mr. Mandela. I'm telling you, at the actor studio, I was stopped so many times. So I speak from my own experience. When I was doing something that wasn't even worthy of the stage, I was stopped. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I've seen you do this before so many times. So if you're doing something that's within your comfort zone, you're being challenged to do more. This is as an actor. You're responsible for the character. So imagine the responsibility that you have when you're going to an event such as this, to give a speech in honor of such a man. Hari, 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 Hari Krishna.
It has been almost a decade now since Mandela's own walk on this earth finally reached its end. But what he taught us again and again is that it was never his walk alone. It was all of ours. It is all of ours. And what a beautiful gift, especially as a dad of two young children myself. The message that this world is meant to be shared. That the work of each generation is tied to those who came before and those who will come after us. That we have an obligation to give as much, if not more, than we take. And never shudder in the face of darkness, for hope is the fuel that courage requires.
Oh, you're talking about hope again and courage. You're talking about being the father of two beautiful children. Don't you have any joy in that? What makes you happy, Harry? Aren't you happy about your two beautiful children? I'm happy, and I don't even have children. Just thinking of your children, and I'm happy. The world is meant to be shared. That's exactly what I'm saying. That's why you should share commercial flight. You shouldn't take private flights. Follow in what you are quoting of Nelson Mandela. That's all I'm saying. And you're doing none of that. Your face has been completely neutral the whole time. You are playing the end of a scene from the very beginning. You might as well stayed backstage. If you come in and you're playing the end of a scene as an actor, don't come on stage. Please don't. Stay backstage and let somebody else have the opportunity, as there are so many actors out there who would give anything to have an opportunity to give justice to the characters they play, to have hope and bring it. Let them do it.
International Day, as a new generation comes of age, a generation that did not witness Mandela's leadership for themselves, let's commit to remembering and celebrating his life and legacy every day, not just once a year. Let's talk with our children about what he stood for. Let's seek out what we have in common. Empower all people to reclaim our democracies and harness the light of Mandela's memory to illuminate the way forward.
To illuminate the human
Because if we can
spirit.
summon our own courage just as he did, if we can see one another's humanity just as he did, a better day will truly be on the horizon. Thank you.
You are talking about celebrating somebody who's one of a kind human being, Nelson Mandela, celebrating International Nelson Mandela Day. That's what he's talking about. And he's going there, and there's not one ounce of joy and celebration breathing through his pores. None of it. Doesn't matter that he speaks of his mother, Princess Diana. Doesn't matter that he speaks of his wife. Doesn't matter he talks about his children. Doesn't matter he talks about the fact that Nelson Mandela, no matter his sacrifices and his life consequences for what he believed in, imprisonment for almost 3 decades, he still had hope. He still had hope for the future. He still had hope for humanity. I'm just in shock. I understand now why people were being so critical everywhere about his speech, because it's just not fair. Like I said before, an actor is going to be taken off of the stage or told to stop on the stage and ask the question, have you prepared before you came to the stage? I'm talking from personal experience at the actor studio. During my 20 years of membership, I've been on my face so many times. I've been stopped so many times by moderators during the sessions who said, what are you doing? What are you doing? What's your purpose here? Have you done the work to be able to then come on this sacred stage to portray this character? Have you done the work? Because if you haven't, then you should. If as an actor, you have to take on more responsibility to raise up to the character, to do the work so you can raise up to the character rather than bring the character to you, to your monotone self in the way that you don't believe in anything right now. And everything is just a sad monologue that you did, and you're upset because you don't have an audience, and your wife is going to be upset that there weren't more people there to see her enter. If that's what it's about, then it's not about something bigger than you. And what Mandela was about something bigger than himself, which you just said. So you're saying everything, but you're not living any of it. Oh, I'm so glad I'm done with this. Oh, thanks so much, everyone. Thank you so much. This is episode 52 of Hey Stella podcast. Hope, there's hope, joy, celebration.